Alright guys, so we're working on, don't know the model year, but it's a Ford, like, NAA Jubilee tractor. I know you can't really see it, I'm like super close up here. There we go. There you go. A couple issues, repaired the brakes. They weren't bad, they just needed a serious adjustment, got that fixed. Complained about an oil leak. And then the thing is always pumping out coolant, so it's a little bit over full. So the line usually runs down the side, down here, out the bottom, and just dumps on the ground. Well, I had an old recovery tank laying around from my four-wheeling days. So I just moved the hose over. I'm just going to zip tie that kind of in here. And that's going to take care of that. So it'll have its own recovery tank that it never had. And then the leak he was talking about on this side, we'll call it the driver's side, the left side of the engine here, wasn't actually an oil leak. It was a fuel leak. The fuel system here was leaking out the shutoff screw, and it was just following down the hose at the bend and then dripping off, and then it was basically washing the motor of all its grit. So we fixed the fuel leak, and then we let it run for like 20 minutes at, I don't know, bumped up the throttle a bit and just get it running. Came on this side, and we're like, oh, we're good. No leaks, no leaks. Come over here, leaking oil. So we finally found the leak. So, never worked on one of these, so I've just kind of been just winging it. Got a bunch of the nut and bolts here and here on both sides of this console. Got it tilted forward. Apparently it's got a pivot point here, so I tilted it forward. I got a 2x4 kind of keeping it up a little bit. Fuel tank. These things are super old, hard to come by. I didn't want to mess with the nuts and bolts. Can't really see nothing here. I didn't want to mess with all these nuts and bolts going into this bracket. And then there's like a spring nut and bolt there. So I didn't want to mess with that stuff because it's all old. And I didn't want to cause any leaks out of this old tin can. So I took the 4 bolts that are in the block that hold the brackets that hold the fuel tank, because those are easy. Did all that. So now we've got, as you can see, tilted up a little bit. Got the fuel tank released. Don't forget to remove the line. So now, I don't know what this is. I'm going to sit here, I'm going to fight with this. Wiggle this stuff off. I guess this is probably part of it. Rubber gasket, so the oil doesn't leak out. Got it. Just going to wiggle this off. Wiggle that one off. Boom. Sort of. I'm going to have to probably do this with 2 hands. And then push up on the fuel tank. So I'm coming out the passenger side because there's no way I'm coming out the driver's side, because the driver's side's got the exhaust manifold and the fuel line that I kind of left in place. So yeah, we're going out that way. I'm going to get my 2 hands in there. I'm going to try and get this fuel tank pushed up at the same time. I'm going to get this valve cover out. I do have a gasket. I'm hoping it's the right one. It's just an old cork gasket. It's just leaking. It's just old, worn out, and rotted. So that's what I'm going to do here. Alright, so here we go. Got the valve cover gasket off. Wiped off all my surfaces. Try and plug or drain it so you don't want to be dripping fuel into your oil. Moving on. Got this from Steiner Tractor. Looks to be about right for the most part. I'm gonna hope it fits in there because it's a smidge wider. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a thin layer of RTV because I don't want this to come back. And you know how these things leak for the most part. And this thing is all sorts of, 50 years old, and it's been bent and it's tweaked. So thin layer of RTV. Let that dry for a few, and then I'm going to try and get it back in there and mounted. Alright guys, finishing out the video, the old NAA here. up and running. As far as I can tell, there ain't no leaks, so as soon as the customer gets out of church, it's going back. Time to get paid. Thanks for tuning in.